and welcome back to another segment of Do More Art. My name is Bailey and I'm here to show you another fun, easy at-home project you all can do. Today we are actually going to be learning something called Tessellations, and it is highly inspired by an artist named N.C. Escher. And how you spell that is exactly on this book. It is M-C-E-S-C-H-E-R. And what a tessellation is shapes or objects coming together to form a pattern on a page. It fills the page completely, and there's no gaps or overlaps of these shapes. So it's kind of like a giant puzzle piece. Actually on the front cover you can actually see an example of what it is. His are a little bit more advanced and we're going to simplify it, but he is an amazing artist. I highly suggest looking him up. He's known for a lot of optical illusion art. I'm just gonna go through some of them. I'm very good at this. But these are some of his works. He is just astounding. Seriously, one of my favorite artists. But there's some more tessellations, and like I said, his are way more advanced, but we're gonna simplify it so that you can do it. I forgot, there's a picture of him on the back right there. But yeah, we're gonna get started with tessellations, and when we do the project, I'm actually gonna show you some that I've done myself ahead of time. That way you can kind of get a sense of what we're gonna be creating today. Here's the supply list. You're gonna need 2 sheets of paper, because what we're gonna be doing is making a template to recreate the same shape over and over again. And I've put here at least 1 thick piece of paper. So if you're using printer paper, that's fine to draw on, but for the template, you might want a thicker piece of paper, because like I said, we're going to be drawing around that each time to create that shape. And when you do that, it wears out the paper some, and whenever you're using printer paper, it's pretty thin, so it wears out more easily. So if you have something like cardstock or an old postcard or card that you have, that will work as well. You're going to need a pencil, a ruler, scissors, and coloring utensils of your choice. And I would suggest things that go on paper, so not like paint. You could use watercolor if you have watercolor paper, but I'm gonna be using colored pencils. You can use crayons, markers, whatever your choice is. But now that you have the supplies, let's get started. All right, everyone, so before we get started, I normally go over the supplies that we have, but I forgot one supply on the list that I showed you all, and you're gonna need some tape. You're only gonna need about 2 pieces per project, but you're gonna need it. So get some tape, and then I will go over the rest of the supplies that I didn't forget to mention. So first things first, we have a piece of paper for our project. That can be, I'm using construction paper. You can use printer paper or whatever kind of paper that you would like for this piece. And you're gonna need a thick piece of paper. You're gonna need color utensils of your choice, a ruler, scissors, and a pencil. So to create your template, you're gonna need your ruler, and depending on the size of your paper for your project, it kind of varies with how big you're gonna wanna make your square. Mine's about a half sheet of paper, so I'm only gonna do about 2 inches. So now that we have our square cut out, we're actually going to make a template. I've already decided some lines to do for this project, and I will show you how to make the template, and then if you want to make your own lines at home to create your own template, that's totally fine, but there are a few rules that you need to know if you're going to do that. But let me go over this first, and then I will let you know those rules. So you're going to start with the bottom line, and as you can see, it's just kind of like a sun on the horizon. So you're going to draw a curve, and you want to make sure that you go from corner to corner. So there is 1 line, and that was on the bottom, and now we're gonna do a line on the left side, and you're only gonna draw a line on the bottom and on the left. So this one starts in the corner up here, so I'm gonna start it in the corner, drag it down, and then I don't wanna touch this line. I'm gonna leave enough space like that one has there, and do that. Okay, so these dotted lines indicate that this shape is going to be moving forward. So since we're going to be cutting out this shape right here and moving it to the top, and the same thing with the left line, we're going to take that shape and move it to the right side of it. Here is actually an example that will help maybe visualize what we're going to be doing. So this shape would have been that shape, and it moved to the top, and again with the shape on the left, it moved to the right. But if you are making your own lines at home, something to be very careful about is you don't want your lines, you don't want your lines to overlap. That red X is indicating that those lines have overlapped, and whenever you go to cut your piece out, you're gonna have a hole right there and things will not fit together like a perfect puzzle piece, which is what tessellation is. So that will not work for this project. So make sure you don't overlap. And then another rule is you don't want super crazy fancy lines, really detailed. You do not want that because it's going to be, one, a pain to cut all of that out. It's very hard to get in and out of that. And then also, it's going to wear down that paper even more, and it's such thin strips right there that it will not be as crisp and detailed as it originally looked. So just be cautious of those two rules if you are creating your own design at home. But if you are following along with me, we're gonna keep this going. I'm gonna start with the first line at the bottom and cut that out. You're just gonna follow your scissors on that line. All right, so now I've had that piece cut out, and as these dotted lines indicate, we are going to just move it to the top. And this is where the tape comes in handy. We're gonna tape it down. Be sure not to, I mean, you can, but be sure not to overlap your tape where you're going to be cutting out your next shape. So put one on the front, and I like to put one on the back too, just because it helps hold it in place. So there is that one, and now I'm gonna be cutting this second line. This piece is a little different than the bottom one that we did because the bottom one took up the whole bottom, so it fit pretty well at the top. So whenever you move a piece like this second line over, you don't want to move it down to the bottom. You want to move it in the exact same spot straight across from where you cut it. Otherwise, again, similar to overlapping, you will not be able to create that perfect puzzle, and you will get some gaps and overlaps, and remember that we do not want those. So line it up exactly straight across from where you had it, or as close as you can get it, and then tape it down. All right, so there's our template. I'm gonna move this out of the way, and I already showed you all this template, and I said that I would show you all the projects that I did before doing this one with you all. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I created this one, and this is what it turned out to be. It kind of looks like fish, but you can see how it fits in each little spot. It's like a giant puzzle. I know I keep saying that, but it really is. And then I actually tried to make this one look like a fish, and you are welcome to try that at home. It does take some experimenting to do that, but you can also just draw random lines, and sometimes you find things in that. What I mean by that is I made this template, and I did a swiggly line here and a jagged line there, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought those were two cool lines to put together. But then I put it on my page like this, and I thought for a second, I was like, it kind of looks like a frog wearing a crown and holding a sword. So that's what I drew in there, and then I decided to fill the rest of the page with a colorful pattern. So you can create something out of nothing basically, and you know, it's just a lot of fun whenever that happens. So you can do it abstract and create something out of it, like I said, or you can just have an entirely abstract piece. I mean, if you cover that up, I didn't have to do the frog. We can spin it around so it looks like something else maybe. It's kind of like whenever you look at clouds and you're trying to figure out what those look like. But our project, we're gonna keep going. So those are the examples, but to start our project again, you're gonna take your project piece of paper and your template and your pencil, and this is a personal preference for you all. You have free reign over this. You can put your template in any spot that you want. I'm going to keep it this way because it actually, I don't know, maybe you've already figured it out, but this one will actually create what looks like a bird or a duck. So I'm gonna keep it straight up and down, but I'm gonna start it kind of in the middle of the page somewhere. But to start, you're just gonna simply trace around your whole template. So there's the first tracing of my template, and you want to make sure that you cover every single area. It's okay that I didn't hit the corners, that's fine. There's enough information for me to know where to put the next one, but you can already kind of tell how this fits right into that mouth right there. And then you just simply start tracing again, and you do that until you fill the entire page with your template, and you have a beautiful pattern to start coloring in. So there is all of my birds that have filled the page. And actually, you know, like I said with the frog, you know, whenever you make something, you never really know what it's gonna be. Yes, I was going for a duck, but I realized if you turn the page, it kind of looks like fat cats. So like most projects that I show you all, this is a really fun one to experiment with. You never know what you're gonna get, which is always so much fun in my opinion. And now that we have it outlined, all it needs now is to color it in. I'll color a few, but just to show you all what it looks like, but use your creativity at home and color in, make a pattern on it like I did with the frog. I did one alternating another, and the same thing with fish. I did like a fish and then a pattern within a pattern technically. I mean, there's so many different options here, so have fun with it, get creative. So here's a few things that I got colored in. I went ahead and did some birds. I did a chick, and that's supposed to be a pigeon, but it's really just another bird. And like I said earlier, it kind of looked like fat cats to me, so you don't have to do just one thing. It could be both directions. But yeah, you can switch it up like that, or you can keep it all one direction. It is totally up to you. Like I said, use your creativity with this. It's a very experimental project, trial and error a lot, but sometimes you get some really cool results, so it's totally worth it. But yeah, that's the project, and I can't wait to see what you all come up with. Before we go, I went into, I was flipping through the book again, and I came across some of my favorite tessellations that I remembered looking at growing up, and I wanted to share with you all. So this is one, trying to get the light on it, there we go. You can see how he has the flat tessellations like we did, but then he took the animal that he made with those tessellations and made it look as if it was climbing out of the drawing and around and then back into it, which I just think is so cool. He kind of does a similar thing with these, I call them jumping jacks, I'm not sure what they are, but you can see that it starts normal at the top and it goes into that tessellation pattern that we just did together. So if you liked that project, definitely check out more of his work, and also look up other ways to make tessellations. There's so many different ways. Get creative with it, experiment, come up with fun animals or other things, very cool abstract things. There's so many different options. But until next time, I can't wait to see y'all and do more art.